Hey team, hope you're having a cracking weekend and enjoying this glorious weather we're having. There's one thing you know about me, is that I love me a sunny day. So I hope you're making the most of it and enjoying it. So what I wanted to do today is just get in front of the camera, and now that we've got the first week of SPEC training done and dusted, I just wanted to talk a little bit more about it, give you guys a bit more clarity on it, and the direction we're headed with it. So also I've received a couple of questions during the week that I thought are good questions, and I want to answer them so then everyone kind of knows the answer. So that's the point of this. I'm going to do my best to not waffle, but as you guys know, I'm a waffler. So I apologize in advance. All right. So first off, why the change was a question. Just on it, the structure hasn't really changed that much. We've just added more stuff to it. All right. And CJ did a cracking job with the programming leading up to this, and both of us have always been working together trying to get the best outcome with the program to give you guys the best product and service to really sink your teeth into. So it's not really that we've changed it, it's just that I'm just adding to it. All right, and that comes from a kind of like a work ethic, an ethos, I guess you would call it, that I follow, which is constant and never-ending improvement. Everything I do, from the moment, like even before opening this gym, but especially since opening the gym, I'm always looking for a better way to do something. I like to try something out, see how it lands, see how it flows, where does it need to improve, and then make those improvements and then keep flowing with it, all right? And especially in the fitness industry, I think it's super important that you stay on top of the latest research, the latest information, the latest training techniques, and continuously improve the service and product that you're providing in the fitness industry. So I take that very seriously. It's something that drives me big time in the passion I have for the fitness industry. So that is why we made this little change and why I created SPEC Training. All right. It's also, SPEC Training is also the way I train, so I see the benefits of it, I see how I feel with it, and it's something I want to share with you guys. And it was the same when I opened this gym, and it was a CrossFit gym. When I found CrossFit completely changed my life, I wanted to share that with as many people as I could, and that's why I opened CrossFit VSC. Now we kind of moved on from that, and this type of training, although rooted in CrossFit, really builds on some of the flaws that CrossFit has and addresses them, and really creates this kind of training system that is much more holistic and works with you each day for that with that one goal or two goals of general physical preparedness, which is just being all round fit and ready for anything, but then also helping you be consistent with your training. As we all know, consistency is key. It trumps everything else, and the longer you can put in a training, the longer consecutive training sessions you can put back up, the better and fitter and healthier you're going to be. All right, we don't want that kind of hit it hard for a couple of weeks and then break, and then you're taking a break for too long, and then that kind of up and down. We don't want that. We want something consistent, and that's exactly what SPEC Training is going to deliver, both in the structure of the daily program and also the way we approach the individual components of each section of the program, which I'll delve into a little bit later when I talk more about the structure. So I hope that's answered why the change. In a nutshell, it's just constant and never-ending improvement. CJ did a cracking job with the programming leading up to this, and both me and him have discussed where the flaws are and what needs to be addressed in order to make it a better program, and that is how SPEC Training has been born. So it's just about that constant and never-ending improvement. Cool. The next other question that I thought was good is what are we working towards? All right, so great question. So we're going to be on an 8-week cycle with SPEC Training, right? And it's going to go 8 weeks round and round and round. We go for the spring-summer season, all right? So this is the program that we're going to be sticking to right through to March 31st. In autumn-winter, we're going to have a different focus with SPEC Training where things change a little bit. But again, we'll cover that when we get to it. For now, let's talk about spring-summer, baby. So the way this works, the way this works is I'm going to just talk about the two different types of classes, mainly being the Bond Fitness class and the Bond Power class, all right? And the reason for that is the strong and the endurance have different focuses, and I'll touch on that towards the end of this vid. So firstly, the Bond Fitness, which is our standard strength and conditioning classes, where Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you're gonna have a strength component and a conditioning component, yeah? On Mondays, we are going to squat. On Wednesdays, we're gonna press. On Fridays, we're going to deadlift or pull, right? So each one of those, we're not gonna stick to the one exercise for all of those. If we're squatting, we're gonna do a series of different squats to address all types of squats over the weeks, all right? So this first 4-week block, first week we did the reverse lunges. Second week, which is gonna be this week, we got overhead squats. Third week, we're gonna do front squats. Fourth week, we're gonna hit back squats. Then we go back to the reverse lunges and we start it again, all right? And that's gonna be the 8-week block. The rep schemes for each of those are going to reduce as we're looking at increasing the weight, all right? But one thing you'll notice straight off the bat is that we're not having percentages, right? What we're working on is this reps in reserve, and it's super important that you make sure that from this first set that you hit this reps in reserve, all right? Because we're not doing a progressive overload with exercises, say for example, like, you know, week 1 we're doing back squats at 70%, week 2 we're doing back squats at 75%, so on and so forth. Because we're not doing this progressive overload and we're attacking different squat variations every week, I'm just using squats as an example, it's important that you max out or come close to maxing out or go as hard as you can with that reps in reserve range every time you squat, all right? Because it's gonna help force that adaptation and it's gonna help you get stronger in those particular lifts, all right? So the reason I like varying the movements from week to week is because of that adaptation scenario, right? So every squat lends itself to the next squat, right? And there's a big carryover in a lot of the movements we do. And what carryover means is, like, to get better at back squats, you just don't have to do back squats. You need to do a series of other squats, all right? And that's the way we're tackling it, right? So if we're doing reverse lunges, it's gonna get your glutes and hamstrings working so much more than a normal back squat. But guess what? In a back squat, you use glutes and hamstrings. So the stronger you can get them, right, by isolating them in a reverse lunge, it's gonna lend itself to making you a better back squatter. Make sense? With overhead squats, all right? Overhead squats are a super challenging squat because it requires, you know, stability and mobility overhead and in your body as well in order to achieve an overhead squat, right? But you get stronger at overhead squats, all of a sudden you're sitting more upright in an overhead squat, which is going to make you a better front squatter, which is going to make you a better back squatter, yeah? With overhead squats as well, if you're getting stronger overhead, that means your snatch is going to get stronger because you can actually handle a heavier load overhead. Okay, see where I'm going? Front squats, if you get better at front squats, you're gonna become more better on that vertical drive again, which is gonna help you better at cleans, and it's also gonna make you better at back squats. So that's what I'm trying to get at. So every week, we are gonna try a different variation of a squat, a different variation of a press, a different variation of a deadlift, with the one goal to get better at all of them, but in general, getting better at squatting, getting better at pressing, getting better at pulling, yeah? So every 8 weeks when we do test, there will be a different squat or a different variation that we are going to be testing, and every week you get this chance to really go heavy because we're playing around with this reps in reserve aspect as well, all right? So last week we had reps in reserve of 2, you know, now we're going to go reps of reserve in 1, and then ultimately we're going to be doing reps in reserve of 0, which is going to be maximum sets, all right? I hope that's clear, and obviously if there's more questions, please shout out, but that's the basic structure of it, all right? So every week we're going to be changing it up. The main thing is, one thing that I find, and I know some people don't like this, I love finding things I'm not good at and suck at, because I like working on them and then not sucking at them and getting good at them eventually. Do you know what I mean? But then some people just like to do stuff that they're really good at, which is fair enough as well. This program is going to constantly challenge you every week to try things and really push into things that you may not feel confident with, but by the end of it you will. And that's what I want you to get. I want you to be confident and stronger in all these movements instead of just sticking to like getting strong at certain movements, like 1 or 2 movements, yeah? So that is the strength component. So I know sometimes it can be frustrating when you're learning things, like for example last week with the single leg deadlifts, you know, that balance was an issue, but here's the thing. why I love single leg stuff. Like those single leg deadlifts, like if you have one leg that like you're imbalanced, right? When you go do a normal deadlift, that imbalance doesn't go away. It's just masked because you've got 2 feet on the ground. But the muscles required to stabilize you on that single leg, even though we got 2 legs, they're still not firing. Do you get what I mean? So your body will compensate in other ways to get the weight up instead of addressing those weaknesses and imbalances, all right? So when you do single leg stuff and you find that imbalance, get excited because you found a weakness that now is going, when you address it, it's going to make you stronger and you're going to get better, all right? Wow, I have waffled. I feel like I've waffled. So I'm sorry, but yeah, I hope that all makes sense, all right? So that's going to be the strength component. The conditioning component going to vary between 15 and 20 minutes conditioning work with lots of different kind of challenges in there for work capacity, basically. And work capacity is just about, you know, obviously how much work you can get done in a certain amount of time. So there'll be lots of challenges with that, and we're going to be utilizing, you know, lots of different exercises, kettlebells, dumbbells, wall balls, boxes, all those kind of fun things, and yeah, introducing you to some different movements as well. Like this week we've got shrimp squats, which is a really good entry-level single leg kind of exercise that is not as hard as a pistol, but bloody hard anyways, but still gets you on that, you know, that single side squat. So stuff like that is what we're going to play around with in the conditioning. The power classes. Cool. So now the power classes are our Olympic lifting classes. And for the most part, we're going to spend a lot of time with complexes, all right? And the reason why complexes are good, because they build just, well, 1, grip endurance and muscular endurance, but 3, positional strength. All right, so positional strength is about being strong at certain positions in the lift, and the stronger you can, the more you can increase that positional strength and your ability to be strong at different positions, the better your lift is going to be, the stronger your lift is going to be. All right, so complexes are really good with that. And also the other part to complexes, funny enough, with Olympic lifting, the more you think about it, the more chances you have of kind of stuffing them up. But with complexes, because you're focused so much on each component and each position of the lift, you kind of, you know, you get out of the way of yourself. Do you know what I mean? And the movement just, you know, kind of comes through. So it helps with the skill development of the actual overall movement. The power classes are going to test on a different week to the fitness classes. So for example, in 8 weeks time when we're testing, you know, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, squat, press, dead, we won't be testing Olympic lifting. Instead, we'll test the Olympic lifting the week after, all right? So we kind of have that kind of, so it's not all like kind of slammed into 1 week, alrighty? But yeah, that's basically it with the snatch and clean and jerk. So snatch and clean. Clean is gonna be on Tuesdays, and snatch is gonna be on Thursdays for the foreseeable future. We might change that as we go. The main thing I just wanted to see is just like how the attendance kind of, you know, falls. Do you get what I mean? So, I'll touch on why we've structured it on certain days in a minute, but I just wanted to see how the attendance falls. If we'll see how it goes, and we might constantly swap those from week to week, but for now, it's going to be cleans on Tuesdays, snatches on Thursdays. Cool. So that's basically the fitness and power programs and how it's structured and where we're going with it. Explaining why we've structured it on the certain days. Getting back to that point of consistency, right? To be consistent, you need a routine. To have a routine or to keep your routine, you need discipline, right? Discipline is just taking that kind of emotion out of what you need to do and just getting it done. Yeah, and what I mean by that is, you know, that whole thing is, I just don't feel like training. It doesn't matter how you feel. It just remove that feeling, just get it done. Do you get what I mean? And get the work done. And I know that sounds pretty blunt, but it really is the key to discipline and the key to consistency, all right? Yes, there's gonna be times where you get really tired and you don't wanna come into the training, you're like, I don't know, I'm just feeling pretty flat. Cool. Well, those are those days, all right? I highly recommend, if you do have those days, to just say to yourself, you know what, if I feel the same tomorrow, I'll take tomorrow off and still make it in for the day. All right, because 9 times out of 10, when you get in, you actually feel pretty good. It's just kind of, you know, it's just that thing in your head that's going, hey, just chill, have some chocolate, which we try to keep quiet. But yeah, so getting back to that, so discipline, consistency and routine, or routine and consistency. Monday squat, Tuesday clean, Wednesday press, Thursday snatch, Friday we deadlift. All right, so now you can create a routine around that, create a structure around that, because it's going to be consistent. So if you want to get better at snatches, guess what? You're going to be here on Thursdays. Yeah. If you want to get better at squatting, you're going to be here every Monday. So it just helps with structuring your week, and hopefully will get you the opportunity to be more consistent with your training, especially as we're moving into the party time of the year where training kind of takes that little step back. But this way, at least we've got this grounded foundation that you can build on. Cool. So that is why the structure is the way it is. So yes, I've spoken for a long time, but I hope that's given you insight into what we're doing and why we're doing it. And again, I love feedback, so please flick me an email, talk to me in class, whatever it needs to be. Just get in contact if you have something that you want to say, whether you like it, you don't like it, or whatever, yeah? And if there's anything that doesn't make sense, please shout out. I'm going to do a few more videos about explaining the program over the coming weeks. I just kind of didn't want to overwhelm everyone with too much at the start. Kind of want to just, chip away at it over the next couple of weeks. Cool. So I hope you enjoy the program. SPEC Training is here to stay. At Bond Performance, it's what we do. So enjoy, challenge yourself, and kick ass. Yeah. I've got to come up with a tagline or something cool. Like Rove used to say hi to your mum for me or something like that. I've got to get something cooler. Anyways, for now, keep it real. I'll talk to you soon. I'll see you in the gym. Bye.